CQ, 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 the old friend's net. This is WA4LLR. Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, calling CQ, the old friend's net. This net meets on this frequency 3 times weekly, Tuesdays and Thursday mornings at 8 a.m., Sunday afternoons at 4 p.m. The net is conducted in the Amplitude Modulation mode, carried out in the roundtable format. It's an excellent place to get information, look for parts, or maybe trade a rig or two. It caters mainly to the vintage equipment group. So, any station that would like to participate today, give WA4LLR a call and come now.
N4 Labrador Quack.
KZ4 Bravo.
WB4ARK.
W2CQH.
WB4NKL.
W4KR.
Okay, we had one double I couldn't quite sort out, but let me give you who I have. I have N4LQ, KZ4B, WB4ARK, W2CQH, WB4NKL, and W4KR. Who'd I miss?
Yeah, I must have I'm double with Buddy, W4DCS.
Okay, Doug, I'll put you between Buddy and Reed. Okay, any others?
W4MAC.
Okay, and I thought I heard a carrier with no audio. Somebody check a mic connection there. Any others?
Charlie, MEC tried to check in.
Yeah, I got Charlie. Sorry about that. Let me give you the list one more time. N4LQ, KZ4B, WB4ARK, W4DCS, W2CQH, WB4NKL, W4KR, W4MEC. Anyone else?
K4GDN.
Okay, recognizing George, GDN, right after Charlie. Any others? Okay, very good. Well, we've got about 45 degrees, mostly clear and breezy up here in Burnsville, North Carolina today. Hope everybody is doing well. Running the BC610C and listening on the BC342N. So, we'll go ahead and get started. So down to you, Steve. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Oh, WA4LLR. This is N4LQ. A little hoarse this morning. It's a beautiful day here in Shelby, 48 degrees and clear. And everybody sounds pretty good, so I'll go ahead and turn it over to KZ4B. Good morning, John. N4LQ.
Good morning, Steve. N4LQ and the group KZ4 Bravo. Fine business. Have a quick question. Of those that are veterans like myself, I had out-of-town company, so I couldn't take advantage of it. But a lot of restaurants have a free meal on Veterans Day. The Golden Corral here, which of course might have chicken livers, gave a free meal after 4 o'clock until closing time. I wonder if anybody else, if any other restaurants have that deal, and who was able to take advantage of it. And maybe that'll help next year. And shifting gears, I'm a southpaw, and it seems like ballpoint pens are all right-handed because they skip on me and give me a hard time. And I picked up a Pentel gel cell pen, and it actually works in the hands of a lefty. And if there are other lefties out here that have the same problem that I do, you might give it a shot because it seems to really work well. On that note, I will pass it on over to Buddy. And good morning to you, WB4ARK and the group, KZ4B, over.
KZ4B, WB4ARK, good morning, and good afternoon, and good day. Well, looks like we have a nice day brewing. It's clear, sun is coming up, and it's cool. It's 40. It was 46 degrees here a little earlier. I guess it's gone up a tad, but it looks like we're going to have another great day with no rain. We did have a little rain the other day, but it wasn't much. It was like 0.2. So we got just a little trace. I don't know if anybody that's a southpaw, so can't answer the question about the pen and the writing. I guess I could try it and see. But anyway, we're back on our favorite ART13, our only one. We only need one, and it'll last probably into the next century. So I guess that's it for right now. So over to Doug, W4DCS, WB4ARK.
Yeah, WB4ARK in the group. W4DCS, Winston-Salem. Also on an AR-213 this morning. I'm fooling with it. I have this bad habit of not locking down the tuning mechanisms and end up all over the place with it. So that's something. You'd think with only 2 frequencies to worry about, I could do better than that, but oh well. If you loosen them up and then tweak it a little and forget to lock them down, it's mayhem. So anyway, yeah, you're sounding good, buddy. And Jim was on yesterday with his, and it sounded great too. So I finally took the time to figure out the intermittent microphone situation with this one, and believe I have it squared away. It was just a wire popped off the little tiny screw inside the PL68 connector. I think you really should have a little tiny ring terminal in there, because the wires have a tendency to pop out from under those tiny screws. So that was my problem. And fortunate, because you don't want to have to take the ART apart. I mean, it's I've got it on a rack here, and to pull it out of there, and it's just a big time project. So I was thankful that I found it inside the connector. Enough out of me. Where am I going with this? Read W2CQH, W4DCS.
Yeah, W4 DCS, I think. W2CQH. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dave. On the ART13 and the BC348. And no measurable rain here since the last hurricane a couple of weeks ago, where we got 5 inches. So the place is still pretty damp, but still no rain. So on to, what does my list say? WB4NKL, W2CQH.
W2CQH, WB4NKL on the ART-13, makes 4 in a row there. That's pretty amazing. I wish Jimmy was here. He could have made it 5 in a row, but I think he was having to get a shot in the eye today. Let's see, 42 degrees, and we got not this past night, but the night before last, we got an inch of rain. I knew it had rained, and I went out and checked the gauge, so we got almost an inch. So that was good because it'd been dry ever. That's the first rain we'd had since the big storm. Let's see, Doug. Most of the new PLO68s I've had little ring terminals with them. I don't know where you'd buy some that small, but I know I've bought the plugs and they've had the ring terminals already installed. That'd make it a lot easier. And I have, where it didn't have the ring terminals, I have actually soldered the connections in there instead of using the little screws. But you got to be careful there. Sometimes you'll melt the plastic out of them. I'll send it on around. Everybody's sounding good. Band's in great shape. Go ahead, Stan. W4KR, WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff, WB4NKL. And the Tuesday morning Old Friends Group, W4KR. And suburban Walhalla, temperature here this morning is 54 degrees. And just went up a degree about a minute before you turned it over, Cliff. And it's clear. Looks like we're gonna have a nice day. Cliff, the rectifier tube we talked about checked out okay. So I guess the next step is to flip it over on its back and check the wiring from that change that had been made. Anyway, we'll see what goes with that. I've got to someday when everything else is running right, I got to get into spend a day opening up the RF deck and replacing 2 connectors on the back. One is the mic connector. Not exactly the one. I've got the right ones that the manufacturer used, and that's my other D104s all use that connector. That's the off center pair, and got to do that and replace one of the 9-pin connectors. One of the 9-pin males has its center gizmo broken off. So you got to be careful plugging it in. But I guess while I have the thing apart and I'm already working on the bottom, I'll just continue. Copying everybody well. Band conditions are good. George, your signal was real good there when you called in after Charlie. Let's see, what do I do with it? I give it to Charlie. That's what I do. W4MAC. This is W4KR.
Okay, Stan. W4KR and the group W4MEC. Good morning. Everybody's booming in here. No problems with today. And even George on his check-in sounded pretty good. And it's a nice 53 degrees here. My antenna's changed since Sunday when it was rainy. Wasn't it raining Sunday? It was a couple days ago. But I need one of these days I'm going to draw on my tuner, make me some arrows that says when it's raining go this way, when it's dry go this way, because I always pick the wrong direction to correct it. But anyway, I got it squared away now. And And I could have made another Art 13 if I had an antenna, and I put up with the double click there. I'm still worried about that, so I'm gonna, among my many projects, I need to finish that AC supply up, but I'll get there eventually. And the only reason I won't be on it is when it's too cold in the shack. So anyway, but other than that, it's okay here. I was in the need of a set of those tie-down straps with hooks on each end, and I couldn't find what I wanted. A couple places they were all orange, and I wanted green. And I wanted green because I use it on my trailer, and the orange ones stick out like a sore thumb when you look at the trailer. So green one's not so bad. So I went looking everywhere for green, couldn't find any. And one thing I noticed when I went to Harbor Freight is if you've ever been there, they've got a huge rack full of tarps. And about the only ones left are the little 5x7s. There wasn't one tarp in those racks that was bigger than 5x7. And all of their straps were gone too. So I came home and did what everybody does. I ordered them on Amazon. They'll be here today. So sorry, Free Enterprise in the city. I had to do what I had to do. Let's see. Over to George, K4GDN, W4ABC.
W4ABC in the group, K4GDN. And, by the way, that was me that had the carrier and no audio. I was in the habit of turning down the volume control on my receivers when I stop transmitting before I turn them off. And I'm on the Yaesu FT1000 again, going through the Drake 4B. And on the Yaesu, the audio volume control is right next to the mic control. I got them both. Anyway, just finally figured it out looking at the map. And I'm not left-handed, but my wife is. And I never noticed her having any trouble with ballpoint pens, and she uses a lot of them. Also in the restaurant, there were several that I mentioned down here in Myrtle Beach that had specials on Veterans Day. And there was a Golden Corral not too far away, but I didn't hear anything on it, and I didn't go out any yesterday. I do have some things I need to do at the bank and the credit union, but both of them were closed for Veterans Day. I'll have to do that today. Let's see. The only project I've got going right now is I'm trying to get my Yaesu 897 hooked up where I can drive the Drake linear with that. I've got a mini DIN plug coming for that, so I can see how that will work. And I have to have an intermediate relay between the 897 and the 4B, since the 897's linear keying around is done with the transistor. It won't handle the voltage or current that the L4B needs for control, or for my 10-watt TR-22, so I'll come up with a small 12-volt intermediate relay to handle that, and should be getting that on the air sometime here soon. And Charlie, it sounded like you mentioned last time the TCS, the mobile TCS has made another change. That's kind of interesting. I always did have a soft spot for the TCSs. I had one when I was in high school, had a set, and that was the only military transmitter I ever got running. I had an ART-13, but never could come up with power supplies in the early 60s to run the transmitter. But the TCS I did get going, and I had the TCS receiver as well, and I always did enjoy it. And on the first ship I was stationed on, this was in the late 60s, 69 I guess it was. There was a TCS set on there. The chief radioman didn't know how to use it and was really amazed when I got the thing on the air. We were using them for close-in communications with the harbor control people, and in the dag, I got it on and got it working, and they were really kind of amazed at that. Didn't know how someone my age could figure out how to work it. Anyway,
With that, I guess David's coming back to you. I'm picking up everybody well with the exception of Reed. I heard him when he checked in, but I couldn't copy him when he came back later on. So Dave, coming to you. WA4LLR to group K4GDN.
All right, George, fine business. Big signal up here today. Do we have any other check-ins that would like to join the old friends? Come now. Okay, not hearing anyone. All righty, the FT1000 and the 4B's doing a great job, George. And Charlie, your Heath kid, of course, is doing well. Yeah, we could have had, if Jim had been in here, and I had stayed on my early rig, we had had seven ARTs. But 4 in a row is pretty interesting. Let's see. Cliff, you're a little cooler than we are. I think you said you had 42 degrees. Stan's pretty warm at 54. No mic issues, Doug, so you got it cured on that one. Reed, you're sounding good this morning. And, of course, Buddy always is. And, John, I never knew that pens were hand sensitive. I had no idea that it made any difference which direction you were writing. I wonder if pens for Jewish folks writing in Hebrew are different when they're writing from right to left instead of left to right. But that's interesting that you brought that up. Anyway, let's see. Not a whole lot going on here. Had to go out and do some propane work yesterday, so don't have any particular radio projects going on at the moment. Space weather today is pretty calm. Sunspot count's 138. Solar flux index is 182. And the K is 1, so pretty stable band. A few items from this day in history. On this day in 1980, Voyager 1 reached Saturn and sent us back some good pictures. On this day in 1971, the Arches National Park in Utah was established. On this day in 1970, a cyclone struck Bangladesh and killed hundreds of thousands of people in the Ganges Delta, probably the deadliest tropical cyclone in recorded history. On this day in 1954, Ellis Island Immigration Center closed. On this day in 1859, the first Flying Trapeze Act was performed by Jules Leotard without a net in a one-piece garment that was named after him after he popularized it. And on this day in 1833, the great Leonid meteor shower took place where hundreds of thousands of meteors were observed, seen all over North America. A lot of folks thought the end of the world had come, and it initiated the first serious study of meteor showers. So that's a few items from this day in history. So back down to you, Steve, N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Leotard, huh? Okay. This is N4LQ. That's interesting. I didn't always wonder, but some things you just don't wonder, I guess. And let's see, John, on free meals for vets, I got on Google and just asked Veterans Day free meal restaurants or something like that, and just came up with hordes of replies, the top 50 and so forth. Applebee's, I noticed that, a bunch of them on there. So next year you can keep that in mind. I think there's a limit on the number of chicken livers at Golden Corral that you can get on Veterans Day, though. Let's see here. The ART-13 at W4DCS sounds great. No rain in Georgia. It has rained here 2 or 3 times since the hurricane. Quarter inch here and quarter inch there. So we're okay. It looks like Thursday is a 100% chance of rain here in Shelby. And it's like over half an inch. So that looks good. Let's see. I got the SDR on. I was looking at some signals. W4KR, very good audio, nice looking sidebands. You do have a 2kC tone on there. It's not real strong, but I could hear it, and then I looked and measured it. So on both sidebands, there's a 2kC tone, sort of a high-pitched tone. I can't imagine what that's coming from. Otherwise, fine. And Charlie, okay on your wet ladder line. And I think I mentioned this before, but I read a story about some ham that kept having that trouble, and he got the brilliant idea of coating his window line with Rain-X silicon. And, well, that repelled the rain, but it totally wrecked the impedance of the feed line because the stuff is apparently conductive to RF in some respect, and then he couldn't get it off. So I think he ended up replacing his window line. And George, you're over-modulating that thing. You were like 180% of your carrier, and kind of hard to understand until I switched over to sideband, and I was able to copy it okay in the sideband mode. So that's you had that problem last net, and you reduced your mic gain, and it helped. Apparently that FT1000 is sensitive about overdriving, and there's something that's a little bit different about it. Anyhow, I guess with that, we'll turn it over to KZ4B, N4LQ.
Okay, N4LQ in the group, KZ4B, fine business, Steve. Couple things here. We had a conversation a few weeks back about the variation between D104 mics, the output, and I've got quite a few D104s, and the output is all over the map. So I went to Walmart and bought some quarter-size key tags, and I wrote the mic audio level number for the T150 on each mic, and it's on the tag that I attached to each mic. There's a little spring that comes out of the base of the mic, and I attached the little metal ring to the springs, and that works out real nicely. So I don't have to experiment about what audio level to use with what mic. Shifting gears, everybody knows that I have a very noisy location. And my latest trick in fighting that is I am currently using on my PR30 receiver the BHI DSP noise canceling desktop speaker. It's an amplified speaker with noise canceling built in, and it really does work. It works better than anything that I have tried, because next door sounds like frying eggs, among other things, and it makes it go away. And I am really enjoying that. On strong stations, it's not an issue, but on weak stations, it's quite obnoxious, the noise. And it just about completely eliminates it. The BHI desktop speaker. Shifting gears again, Dave, you might comment on this. I was watching TV, and they were talking about a satellite made it to the moons and took pictures of moons around Uranus, and which is about the furthest out planet. so it's absolutely insanely cold. And they were commenting that they found water on the moons, and okay, and that it could support life. Well, any water that's going to be on a moon of Uranus, you would think, unless there's volcanic action or something, would not be a liquid, it'd be a hard frozen ice. And so is this life that's living in frozen ice or what? It didn't make a whole lot of sense in that, like I say, it's so far away from the sun that I would imagine that even gases are freezing. And so it's really dry ice. Shifting gears again, on the window line, I used to have the problem with the SWR changing on window line, and I went to lateral line. There was I don't know if the outfit still exists, but there was a guy that advertised in electric radio that had bought or had handicapped people make ladder line with 5-inch long, half-inch diameter tubes and type MT insulated wire. Great stuff. And it was very reasonably priced. I don't know if they exist or not, but you can buy the tubing in straight sections at Lowe's and buy a roll of MT. The reason for MT is it's very UV resistant, which is not the case with a lot of wire. I've had mine up for probably 10 years, and heck, the wire looks like it's new, and it really holds up in sunlight. And of course, sunlight is just hell on insulation. And the only thing that I added is tie wraps. The T&B, Thomas & Betts tie wraps, have a little metal finger, so they don't, the gripper, and you feed that through the inside of the tubing, and it locks the wire in so it can handle a hurricane. And that makes a good combination, and it's totally immune to the weather conditions. So I probably rambled on way too long. So, buddy, take it away. WB4ARK in the group, KZ4B, over.
KZ4B, WB4ARK. All right, Steve. Well, I was doing some experimenting while listening to everyone talk. I moved my ARR15 R105 receiver from its location at the end of my service bench here, and put it underneath the ART13 on in my regular setup with my ART13 transmatch, etc. So now I've got the ARR15, which is the companion receiver for the ART13. It's also auto-tune, and you'll see it in many photos of the B29 in the radio shack area of the B29. You'll see the ARR15, sometimes two of them, and it's a very nice receiver. It's quite long. It's probably I don't know exactly, 2.5 feet long, I guess, front to back. Probably about a foot wide, maybe a little bit more. Stands about, I don't know, good 14 inches high, possibly. It doesn't have an S meter. That's the only drawback, but it's a very good receiver. And so I hooked it up to the terminals on the ART-13 for the antenna, and I was noticing that John, that your signal had some, I guess, kind of a rumbling noise associated with it. And actually, there was a tone pulse at one point. I don't know what that was, but it went on during the entire broadcast you gave. So I thought, well, maybe it was the ART-13 and the ARR-15 combination with the R390 receiver. So I took the ARR-15 loose at the antenna terminal, and the noise stayed there. So there is something going on, bad connection or something associated with your system. And so that is it for today. I guess we will turn it over to Doug. I wonder if anybody else has ever seen an ARR-15 or ever had one. I've had several over the years. I sold one several years ago, went out west somewhere. The guy was really very happy in getting it. And so I don't know where it is today, but it was a very good receiver. So with that, over to Doug, W4DCS, WB4ARK.
Yeah, WB4ARK in the group, W4DCS, Winston-Salem. All right, fellas. Well, Stan, I'm wondering what you're running. I'm looking at it on the SDR. Beautiful AM. Looks like some brick wall filters going, so I'm just wondering if that's a Flex or 7300 or just what that is. But yeah, I noticed the distortion on John there. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I won't hold it. I'm going to say 73 and jump ship on this one. Oh, by the way, speaking of ships, all you veterans, thank you for your service. Much appreciated here. Closest I came to it was working civil service for the Marine Corps on C-130 flight simulators and Harriers. I also did some work with the Navy, or with the Coast Guard on some interesting systems that they use to track ships at sea and drug dealers and such. So that was fun stuff. Anyway, that's enough out of me. And let's see where I'm going to read. W2CQH, W4DCS, 73, guys.
W2CQH, Rig, go ahead and pick it up.
Doug is buried in the noise right now. This is W2CQH. Yeah, Dave, on meteor scattering. I remember the ham started doing that in the 1950s when I first got on the air. Bouncing, I think, 6 meter signals off of a meteor shower. And that's still going on today with more sophisticated technology. That's the D104, which I'm holding in my hand. half a dozen of them which I've collected over the many years. I also have a response curve from Estonian. The manufacturer of the D104's response curve plotted, I think, in 1935, shows a rising frequency response across the audio band. A very ragged curve. Nothing like the smooth microphone response curves that you see today. And they use two different types of piezoelectric crystals. As I said the last time, studied by Pierre Marie Curie in the 1890s. And the only D104s use the Rochelle salt for the crystal. Rochelle salt is soluble in water, and moisture gets into it and kills the element. Right now I'm using, I think, a D104 with a barium titanate element. Barium titanate is a ceramic and waterproof. On to WB4NKO, W2CQH.
NKL, copy all the way around. Band's in excellent condition. I guess I'll get out and make this my last one and get some walking done here today while it's good and cool. I don't think it's supposed to get up maybe into the low 60s, so it should be a pretty nice day, more normal temperatures. We've been having some record breakers here last week. Got up around 80 a few times. Let's see, AAR 15, buddy. I had one of those for a while, and I don't know why it moved along. I don't know why I didn't keep it. It would have been a good matchup with this ART 13. But I don't know. I don't have it anymore. I don't know exactly where it went. Stan, sorry about the easy fix not working out. Been easy to swap the 5U4, but it's be interesting to see what you find on that. 73s, and we'll look for everybody there Thursday. Go ahead, Stan. W4KR, it's WB4NKL.
Okay. Okay, Cliff. Okay, Cliff. WB4KL, W4KR. It's working on those particular boxes seemed to be my mission in life in 2014, and the beat goes on. Buddy, I meant to mention before, your audio really sounds good this morning. All the ART 13 sound good this morning. Buddy's yours is real good. Got the sound of it, and what you guys were hearing on John was the same here. Something there, connection or something. Doug, to answer your question, here goes. Starts off with here's the whole 9 yards this morning, Doug. Now normally I'm not on this rig, but usually I have the Ranger on, but not this morning. This is starts with an Electro-Voice RE27 that drives an Apache Lab 7000 SDR transceiver, which in turn drives an ACOM 2000A, and I'm putting out just about 200 watts this morning. Got it dialed back. Normally I run it up around 3, but it's down to about 2,000 or 200 this morning. Doug, the Apache Labs transceiver has quite an equalizer in it, and tell you what it's doing. Beginning at 125 cycles,
there's a plus 3D rise. 250 cycles, another 3D rise. 500, another 3D rise. 1,000, another 3D rise, which is 12 dB up at that point. And that's flat until you get to 4 kcs, and then it starts to tail back. The bandwidth max is 5,100 cycles, and low end is 100 cycles. So that's it. That's what it's doing. George, your signal held up pretty well. There was one little bit where you dropped down just for about 30 seconds, but then right back up again. Let's see here. A couple of more notes. Buddy, RR15, I've never seen one, never used one, but it sounds fascinating. I'm kind of a receiver geek, so I'd love to turn the knob of one of those things one of these days. With that, back to you, Charlie. Take care, everybody. We'll see everybody, Lord willing, see everybody Thursday morning. W4, am I doing this right? I sure am. W4MEC, W4KR.
Okay, Stan, real good. W4KR in the group, W4MEC. Yeah, I think I remember something about that, coating the ladder line. Don't do that, Steve. And I guess that was a spray can there. I wouldn't imagine it, like, go get some automobile turtle wax and turtle wax the whole thing. Forget that. That ain't happening. So I'll just try and remember which way to turn it. I don't know. I've been doing it for decades and I still get it wrong, so it just doesn't register. I need to come up with a ditty like rain to the right, dry to the left or something, but it's always the same direction. Let's see, you're talking about the space stuff there, and the pins that might favor a hand. I remember the story about the pin that NASA developed to write in space in a weightless environment. They spent thousands upon thousands of dollars to have a pen developed to do that. And when they asked their Russian counterparts how they did it, they showed them a pencil. So, technology is a mother. So, I was watching a movie I'd never seen before called, I forgot the name of it. Anyway, it was about Neil Armstrong, and it was a very interesting movie about a lot of his personality. And the fact that he was a very smart man, very smart engineer. So First Man, that's the name of it, First Man. And I did not know that he had a daughter that at around age 3 had died of cancer. It really upset him because he was an engineer. He thought he could fix it, and he couldn't. So, but the other thing I didn't know, that one of the things he did was he had a necklace that belonged to her. And as a child, and he left it on the moon. So pretty neat story. But anyway, that's the things you find when you're looking through the selection of things to watch on some of the streaming channels there. So, and there's so much. It's hard to believe how many movies they've made since they've been making movies. But I saw a fellow. You might remember it. He was selling 1 million DVDs with a few videotapes, but it was on eBay. He was selling his entire collection, 1 million DVDs, and I think it was $24,000 he wanted for it. I don't know if it ever sold, but there are a lot of movies out there somewhere. So. All right, so down to George, K4GD in the group, W4MEC.
Oh, W4MEC in the group. This is K4GDN. And Steve, I appreciate the comments on the audio. It is a little hard to set up the AZ1000 to drive the linear. Right now, I'm running probably 250 watts out of the linear, but I have cut the mic gain back 1 notch. You might comment on that. I'm going to try to bring the RF power down just a little bit to bring me down under 200 watts. That control is very touchy on the AM. Hold on a second here. Let me see what I could do. Okay, I've cut it down and I've dropped it down a little bit over 200 watts now. Let me try it one more time. Okay, now I'm down well under 200, running about 150 or so. It's just hard to get the thing, the drive adjusted when I'm on AM, but it does look like I am modulating it pretty good. Like I say, right now I've got the mic gain cut back 1 notch more than what I did last time when we were on, and I've got the power out of the L4 is down to around 150 watts. You might make a comment on that when you come back. And I'm going to listen to at least through Buddy anyway this time. And Dave, thanks for calling the net. Appreciate it. And look forward to being in here on Thursday, hopefully. And by the way, the weather in Myrtle Beach here, it's in the, I guess now, mid to upper 60s and as clear as a bell. We haven't had any rain for a day or two and haven't had a whole lot since the storm. So with that, I guess, let's see. Goes back to you, Dave. WA4LLR in the group, K4GDN. 73, guys.
Okay, George. K4GDN, WA4LLR. Band about took you out that time. Do we have any late check-ins? Call now. Okay, guess that's got everybody. Well, we'll do a 73 round. Let's see. Doug checked out, and Cliff checked out, and I believe Stan checked out. Let's see here. John, in answer to your question, I saw that article about possibility of life on the moons of Uranus, and I had the same question. At that distance from the sun, having liquid water seems to be, unless there is some kind of geothermal reason that for temperature increase. I think they said the moons, of course, were covered with ice, but they believed under the ice was water, and I didn't hear the explanation of why that would be. But maybe there's internal heat. I don't know. It was interesting. And Charlie, interesting on the Neil Armstrong movie. And Reed, 6 meters and 2 meters. Some meteor scatter operations on those. I remember that quite well. I haven't done it in a long time, but I remember it. And Buddy, I don't recall ever seeing an ARR-15. I'd like to see one. I did find an interesting article in Space Digest today. And Space Daily, rather, I'm sorry. And when you think about long-term satellite operation, and you think about the satellites that have been in space so long and are still operational, the ones that come to my mind, of course, are Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. But there's a satellite that's still in operation that predates them by 2 years, and lo and behold, it's Oscar 7. Oscar 7 was launched in November of '74, 50 years ago, and it's still working. Of course, it took a 20-year sabbatical in there before the aliens came and fixed it, and it went back into operation. But Oscar 7 is the longest still operational satellite in space, which I thought was interesting, even older than Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. All righty, let's go ahead and do our 73 round. I'll give it down to Steve. Buddy, I think you're still there. You can give it to Reed if he's still with us. And Reed, give it to Charlie. So N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Okay, Dave, WA4LLR, N4LQ. And real interesting about Oscar 7 still going at it. I'm not sure what it does, but let's see. George, audio is much better, and apparently that's really critical. it wouldn't even hurt to turn it down a little bit more even, but it's the percentage of modulation is unreal. I mean, it's up there 150% plus, so I would turn the mic gain down some more, but at least you're intelligible now. It sounds pretty good. And John, I don't know what you started out okay on your transmission, and then you broke into some kind of rumbling oscillation or something, and I don't know if it's the rig or the mic. I suspect it's the rig. Something going on in the audio chain, and it's just it makes it hard to listen to. But you might get it figured out there, I guess, if you listen to it. And the chances are you'll try to listen to it and it'll sound good. So that's the way that stuff usually goes. Anyway, Stan still got the tone. I got a measurement on the tone. It's 1940, 1,940 kc tone. And it's way down, but it's there. And when you don't talk, I can see it on the spectrum. And I can't imagine what something is oscillating there in your audio chain, I guess. And you do have the sharp cutoffs. I can see the typical non brick wall filtering going on there. So it sounds good. It's just that that tone, just something you might want to look into or listen into. Anyway, otherwise, that's about all I've got. The sun's about to blind me coming in the window here, and the temperature's gone up to 54 degrees. On the way up to about 69 or so, I believe, today. So KZ4B to take it, N4LQ, and we'll say 73s.
Okay, N4LQ in the group KZ4B. I do have a frog in my throat. Like feedback, if you can still hear whatever that noise is, it may have been feedback from my BHI DSP speaker that is not individually muted. The receiver's muted, but there may have been some bleed through. So we appreciate the feedback, and let me know if you still hear it. That will help me to diagnose it. And shifting gears, I had an ARR-15 a gazillion years ago when I was a teenager. I was heavy into surplus stuff, and I do remember that it was ridiculously deep, which made it hard to put on a desk. But I can't remember much else about it. It seemed like I had some kind of an issue trying to tune it, but I can't remember the details. But it was a neat receiver with the auto tune, and but yeah, I did have one for a while. Let's see, on that last go round, I could not copy read W2CQH at all at this location. He was weak but copyable on the first go round, so I'm sure it's just a case of the days need to get shorter and propagation will be better at 8 o'clock. But like everybody else, getting up any earlier might help propagation, but I can't do it. It's just a bridge too far, as they say. And boy, I've really got a frog in my throat. So anyway, 73s, thanks for calling the net, Dave. And we enjoyed it. So Buddy, take it away. WB4ARK in the group, KZ4B over. And
KZ4B, WB4ARK. Okay, John, the noise is gone. I hope you're not picking up the noise from my headphones coming from the ARR15. It's got a slight hum on it. Gonna have to get that taken care of. Doesn't mute. Well, I haven't looked at the mute section. I probably could do that. I think it does have a mute on it, but I'll have to look at the schematic and check it out. So, anyhow, that's great about the spacecraft. It's still up and running. I think, yeah, the whatever that noise was, John, it is totally gone now, so you're in good shape. And let's see. I guess that's about it. I don't have anything else to comment about at this time. The band is still holding strong, so that's a good thing at this time of the day. And all stations were clear. And let's see, George, your signal was better, and what I could see on the scope, you're hitting 100% sometimes, which is good, and the audio sounds quite acceptable now, so I think you're good to go there. Well, I guess we'll say, I tried writing with my pen with my left hand, and I don't have any problems with it. It writes just fine. So I don't know what the issue was there, unless you have some weird way of holding it with your left hand. So with that, we'll turn it over to Reed, and hope everybody has a great first of this week. So we'll look forward to Thursday. W2CQH, WB4ARK.
We're gradually losing the band.
A 3 KC down.
This band will be useless. Well, I remember what the Russians orbited the artificial satellite in October 1957. I was at Penn State University then, and when we heard it through the news media, my roommate and I rushed down to the ham shack and turned on the HO5s, ham shack is separated with HO5 receivers, and sure enough it was there when 21 megahertz. 21 megacycles, they called it then, and it had a beeping sound. Beep, 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 beep. One in the phone, I guess, around 1 kilohertz. So that was my first introduction to artificial satellites. was the end of the world since the Russians had the upper hand in space. So that'd be personal Y73. Good night. See you on Thursday. W4MEC at W2C2H.
CQH W4. All right, fellas, good to talk to you this morning. And yeah, John, I've heard that issue on your radio come up now and then. It just seems to like one time you're, 9 times out of 10 or 99 out of 100 you're perfectly clear, and then you key up and you get this screechy, scratchy noise going on. So, and probably if you double clicked it, it would probably be fine. But anywho. And I did look up the AR-15 just to see, and a very interesting receiver there, and made it to the ART-13, 10 preset tunable channels, but looked very interesting. And while doing that, I found a very nice article written in 2023 about restoring the ARC-5 receivers. And the guy had a lot of good information in there, but there was no way to save it. But I noticed, I said, well, I wonder if this works. So I just highlighted the whole thing and copied it to Word, to Windows Word, and the whole article printed out just fine there. So I saved the whole article. So anyway, there's a lot of good info out there. And I think George left, but I'm not sure. I'll send it his way. 7-3-all, we'll look for you on Thursday. Hope I wake up in time to run the net. K4GDN in the group, W4.
I'm not hearing him if he's there.
Hey, George, you there? Nothing.
He was or he wasn't?
He ain't.
Okay, good enough. All righty, fellas. Thank you for your participation today. And on that Oscar 7 satellite, I just thought it was neat that the oldest operational bird was a ham satellite. In fact, that was the first satellite I ever communicated through back, oh Lord, in the late 70s, or well, maybe mid-70s. Anyway, it was launched in 74. Well, everybody have a great day, and Reed, if you're still copying, I remember the Sputnik situation. I remember Dad talking about it. I wasn't into radio at that point. I was a little early, but yeah, that was a big deal. The Russians had gotten into space, and that was catastrophic for us. So, 7-3, God bless. Thank you for being here, and we will look for you Thursday. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, closing this session of the Old Friends Net, 7-3.
Dave, which rig you running this morning?
The 610C.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, it sounded like it. I just wanted to make sure. That sucker really sounds good. Take care. We'll see you at W4KR.
7-3, Stan. Thank you.